Patient is a 15-year-old boy presented in complaint, pain, swelling of the left side of the neck, fever, sore throat, headache, lethargy, joint pain with rashes of 1 week duration.
Yes. What may be the possibility here or possibilities?
Possibilities are 1 week duration of fever, sore throat, and pain side of the neck. It can be with rashes. It can be a salivary gland enlargement, mumps. It's one 15-year-old boy. Mumps is one possibility, or any bacterial parotitis can produce that presentation,
Yes.
or any tonsillitis with the lymphadenopathy
Yes.
on that swelling that can also produce.
Yes.
Or pharyngitis with the lymphadenopathies can
Yes.
present.
Yes.
Or a rare chance in this young age, any malignancy, craniopharyngioma can present with.
Okay.
But lymphadenopathy is rare.
So, have you finished your differential diagnosis here?
Yes, sir. With rashes, more in favor of viral etiology, mumps and all. Sir.
But what is the type of rash in mumps? Do you have a rash in mumps?
Not.
No. Rash is not seen.
Not.
So all the differential diagnosis you gave, tonsillitis, there's no rash. Pharyngitis, no rash.
Sir, if the history of, sir, one more DD, sir, if the history of any antibiotic intake is prior to that is there, IMN also is one differential diagnosis.
IMN can produce rash following ampicillin.
Ampicillin.
But it can also have rash without ampicillin.
Without ampicillin, sir.
So pain, swelling left side of the neck, fever, sore throat, headache. This indicates infective etiology.
Yes, sir.
Which affects the throat and rashes. And when joint pain, muscle pain, fever, possibility viral comes first in the list.
Some
viral disease with the lymphadenopathy neck. So there can be viral fever, infectious mononucleosis can be very much there as an important differential diagnosis.
Okay, sir.
Rarely you may have leukemia with rashes, fever, sore throat, and lymph nodes. Very still rarely, seroconversion reaction of retrovirus infection can have fever, headache, joint pain, rashes, and it can have infectious mononucleosis like picture. But the age group is not very characteristic for retrovirus infection, but still a possibility. So let's go to the next group of complaints.
Congestion of the eyes, red, swollen, cracked lips present, abdominal pain present, and nausea, vomiting present of 1 week duration.
Yes.
Congestion of eyes, any viral etiology?
Yes.
Then red, swollen, cracked lips.
Yes.
Kawasaki with swollen lips, edema, then are not given about that rashes. They didn't describe the HSP is one possibility. If it is a purpuric rash, abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, and
there's congestion of eyes, red, swollen, cracked lips, abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting. What do you think?
Sir, one HSP is one possibility.
HSP cannot produce lymph nodes.
Cannot produce lymph nodes. Kawasaki disease, sir.
Kawasaki disease is a strong possibility here. What other condition produces cracked lips, swollen, red, with congestion of eyes? All viral diseases you can consider. Cracked lips in a child, what are the possibilities? In adult, what are the possibilities?
Cracked lips, vitamin deficiencies.
Yes, it is one possibility, cheilitis, okay. And people who just keep on rubbing their lips with the tongue can produce this type of lips. Also, swollen lips are characteristic of Crohn's disease.
Crohn's disease, okay, sir.
So, if possibilities continue, you have put a Kawasaki as an important possibility.
Then History of breathlessness and palpitations of 1 day duration.
Any idea what is happening?
Sir, Kawasaki can have a coronary involvement. So again, but that is at the end of disease.
Viral diseases can affect the
Viral disease.
respiratory system also. Right.
Past history, not on any regular medications, no history of any allergies. COVID-19 infection on 22nd November 2020.
And this boy is admitted in January beginning.
Okay, sir.
So there's a gap. So what all things can happen? What are the cause of fever following COVID-19? Is it related or unrelated? Do you think there's any connection between the two?
Sir, any unrelated fever, but breathlessness may be post-COVID fibrosis can produce breathlessness.
Post-COVID what?
Lung fibrosis.
Fibrosis. It will take 1 month. Within 1 month you get fibrosis. That's a good possibility, but does it produce fever, that fibrosis?
No, no, sir.
Will that fibrosis produce glands in the neck? Rash?
No, sir. Breathlessness can be.
So all the symptoms need explanation, no?
I see.
We'll proceed further.
Yes, sir.
On examination,
On examination, patient is moderately built and nourished. Weight 63, height 164, body mass index is 23.5, and peripheral cyanosis present. Bilateral posterior cervical lymph nodes present, and vitals, pulse rate is 118 per minute, blood pressure is 90/60 millimeter of mercury, respiratory rate is 24 per minute, saturation 93% in room air, temperature is 102 degree Fahrenheit.
what do you take on this?
Centers, 93%, tachypnea, hypotension, tachycardia, hypotension, right, peripheral cyanosis.
Is he in shock?
90 for his age, 15-year-old, 90, 60,
But his weight is 63 kilograms.
63 kilograms. Sir.
Well built boy, just like an adult.
Yes, sir. Impending shock.
What's the definition of shock?
Shock.
What is meant by mean arterial pressure?
Mean arterial pressure is diastolic BP plus 1/3 of the systolic.
Diastolic blood pressure plus
1/3 of the pulse pressure.
1/3 of the
Pulse pressure.
pulse pressure. So it will be approximately 70.
Yes, sir.
So when do you say shock is present?
Less than
65, you can easily call it as shock. Just above that. Okay. Would you like to proceed further with any other differential diagnosis?
Sir, pulmonary embolism is one possibility for one.
Pulmonary embolism. Okay. Tell me, does pulmonary embolism produce fever?
No, sir. Of this breathlessness episode only.
Pulmonary embolism, is it common in this age group?
Not, but post-COVID symptom.
So in post-COVID syndrome, do you get lymph nodes, rash,
Not lymph.
fever,
No, sir.
arthralgia, myalgia, congenital congestion, cracked lips?
No, sir. No, sir.
So how do you explain it further? We'll proceed further. So your possibilities now? Okay. Now this is the conjunctiva of this boy. Palpable conjunctiva is shown, bulbar conjunctiva is shown, and cracked, red, swollen lips are also shown.
Yes, sir.
Just for observation. And these are the rashes. First concentrate on the rash on the right side, your right side. If you look closely, there are 5 lesions.
Sir.
What are the lesions? Can you describe it?
Erythematous lesion with a target sign.
Yes, it's a target lesion. So what's the criteria to call something as target lesion?
Central with the halo,
Dark center
dark center with
of
the
lesion, which can be papule vesicular bulla,
okay, sir.
and it will be having an intermediate pale zone and peripheral rim of erythema.
Yes, sir.
So dark center swelling, pale intermediate zone, and erythematous margin. Can you see 5 of them?
Yes, sir.
Very clearly seen. So these are target lesions. What disease where you have typical target lesions?
Fixed drug eruptions.
Not really. Erythema multiforme.
Erythema multiforme. Okay, sir.
Okay. So the cause of which can be idiopathic, drug-induced infections. So what is iris lesion?
Don't know, sir.
Iris lesion is the early part of the target lesion where it has got 2 parts only, not 3 parts. Central dusky zone and a red outer zone.
Yes.
So erythema multiforme is commonly following infection called herpes simplex.
Yes.
So it can be any infection in a susceptible person, including infectious mononucleosis or immunodeficiency. It can produce not IMN, but immune deficiency. So target lesions are seen in this patient, also in the forearm.
Okay, sir.
And this is the tongue showing ulceration. On examination, yes.
Lips are red swollen. Oral cavity shows aphthous ulcers. Ulcers on the lateral border of the tongue present. Pharynx is congested. Per abdomen, it is soft. Tenderness over the right hypochondrium present. Liver just palpable, firm, non-tender. Spleen is not palpable. Bowel sounds present. Cardiovascular system. JVP is not raised. S1, S2 normal, S2 is loud. No S3, S4 and no murmurs. Then nervous system and respiratory system are within normal limits.
So what can be the possibility here? We have finished the examination part.
Sir, it is given oral ulcers, so ulcers again, Kawasaki disease is again a possibility, oral ulcers. But hepatomegaly,
That is non-tender, just palpable.
palpable.
That you may ignore.
Okay, sir. And bowel sounds present.
Any other possibility comes to your mind? So he underwent some investigation from outside. That's what it is here.
Okay, sir. Dengue NS1 negative. Vidal, leptospira, blood culture were negative. Ultrasound abdomen normal. Mild hepatosplenomegaly. Ultrasound abdomen mild hepatosplenomegaly with hyperechoic swollen up kidneys. Corticomedullary differentiation is maintained. Bilateral pleural effusion, minimal pericardial effusion and minimal ascites. Sir, all these minimal pericardial effusion, pleural effusion, ascites all can be part of serositis in any viral infections. Dengue, one possibility, hepatosplenomegaly.
Dengue was done and it was negative.
It was negative.
Antibody also negative. Does dengue produce these target lesions?
Not target lesions.
Alterations?
No, sir.
Lymphadenopathy?
No, sir.
What's the characteristic skin lesions of dengue?
In White Islands in Red Sea.
So that is not what we see here. So we did some investigations here and this is what it is.
Investigations, total count.
Almost everything is normal. Albumin is low, globulin is high. Otherwise okay.
Great.
So can this be post-COVID inflammatory syndrome? So this is the X-ray of this patient showing cardiomegaly, portal film, so we cannot comment on that. But you can see the congested lung fields. So we proceeded with some investigation like this.
D-dimer
Now,
D-dimer is 7,512.
It is high, no?
It's high. CRP is also elevated.
What does D-dimer indicate to you?
Some thrombus.
Thrombus. What is the utility of D-dimer in clinical practice?
If we clinically suspect pulmonary embolism, we can.
This value is compatible with it?
Yes, sir. Saturation fall is there. 1 day history of saturation fall.
Okay. One important part of the D-dimer is it indicates thrombosis, but application is negative or normal D-dimer rules out thrombosis. Positive D-dimer will be having many causes. So it's mainly meant for ruling out thrombosis somewhere, including pulmonary embolism, DIC, and a situation where you expect a thrombus.
Yes, sir.
Fourfold rise is expected in majority of patients, and post-COVID syndrome is one situation where it can go up. Again, it is non-specific. What's your point? CRP.
CRP is elevated. So there is an inflammation. Ferritin is also 564. That also acute phase reactant is elevated. LDH is 392.
What does LDH indicate?
Mildly elevated, it indicates mild hemolysis or any increased cell destruction, any condition can produce.
So it is indicative of tissue damage.
Tissue damage.
Okay.
Okay.
Tissue damage. Okay. Tropi.
Tropi is 0.8 according to
What
their
are the types of troponins?
NT-proBNP is more than 25,000 picogram.
What are the different types of troponins?
Troponin T and troponin I commonly we do. Other one is troponin C, but that. Yeah.
Yes. When do you do trop I? When do you do trop T?
Both in acute setting, but trop I is more early marker.
Trop I is specific for myocardium.
Myocardium.
From skeletal muscles also. And trop I comes up within 6 hours time. And it peaks at around 24 hours and then the peak comes down and within 10 days it disappears. So, pro-BNP, what does it indicate to you?
Pro-BNP is released from a disease the ventricle. So, any condition that produces ventricular failures or any stress cardiomyopathy, any condition.
Where is it coming from?
It's from the ventricles.
Atria.
I should get.
And this patient's anti-SARS-CoV positive.
Positive. Okay.
What does it mean?
He's post-COVID status, immune to.
Okay. So he has got definite evidence of post-COVID status. Yes. Prothrombin INR and all coming normal and APTT also normal. C3 slightly low, C4 is normal and IN is negative. So how do you proceed further?
Sir, CT pulmonary ECG showing sinus tachycardia, low voltage complexes.
When do you say low voltage?
Low voltage means less than 1 centimeter in chest leads and less than 0.5 centimeter height in 0.5 in limb leads.
5 divisions in the limb leads and 10 divisions in chest leads.
Yes.
What are the common causes of a low voltage complex?
Low voltage complex, obese individual, then pericarditis, pericardial effusion, then chest lead placement,
Hypothyroidism,
hypothyroidism.
constitutive pericarditis. So how do you differentiate constitutive pericardial effusion from hypothyroidism looking at the ECG?
In pericarditis, constitutive pericarditis, there will be PR depression associated with it.
That is an acute pericarditis, pericardial effusion.
Effusion, alternates will be there.
It need not always be there. If it is there, helpful. But in case of hypothyroidism, you get low voltage graph with tachycardia. On the other hand, hypothyroidism is bradycardia with low voltage.
Okay, sir.
Echocardiogram.
Echocardiogram show global LV hypokinesia, moderate LV systolic dysfunction with the ejection fraction of 39%.
So what does ejection fraction indicate to you?
Ejection fraction is it's the LV cardiac output. So it's a heart failure.
What
With
indicate?
Sir, it's cardiac output is less.
It indicates systolic function of the heart.
Systolic function, dysfunction.
Okay, so he has got pulmonary hypertension, he has got mild pericardial effusion, and he has got systolic dysfunction. Diagnosis?
Multisystem inflammatory syndrome in
So what is it? What is it?
can be post-COVID inflammatory hyper.
Can you just tell about a few points about it? One of the complications of COVID is post-inflammatory syndrome. And COVID patients get discharged, they come back with complaints. And when they take fever, one is phobia. Number two, they keep on checking the temperature and diurnal variation they take as fever. Alternatively, there may be some other disease in them like pneumonia or something else. Viral fever, anything else can occur. And the situation comes as multisystem inflammatory syndrome. What is this syndrome? It is one of the complications of COVID, characterized by exuberant inflammatory response. Inflammatory characteristic, persistent fever, persistent rise of inflammatory markers. What are the inflammatory markers positive in this case?
CRP, ferritin,
D-dimer, all come as, and negative acute phase reactant is albumin, it has come down. The third point about inflammatory complication is it produces elevated pro-inflammatory cytokines. Can you just tell you about that? What are the pro-inflammatory cytokines?
interleukin.
Yes. Yes, okay. So, how do they usually present?
Interleukin 17.
What are the usual presentations of this multisystem inflammatory syndrome or MIS?
Again, inflammatory
Fever,
against fever.
respiratory symptoms. Usually commonly missed because it is not thought of as a possibility.
Yes, sir.
So, multisystem inflammatory syndrome occur in children is called C and adult we call it as A. In adults, they present with multi-organ dysfunction.
Okay, sir.
Inflammatory markers. So, in children, they present as Kawasaki syndrome. Can you tell something about Kawasaki?
Kawasaki, sir, 5-day history of fever, then lymphadenopathy, strawberry tongue, then periangular desquamation with extreme edema in the extremities, periangular and perioral desquamation with the extremities, and lymphadenopathy rashes.
So, Kawasaki syndrome is basically a vasculitis
Vasculitis.
affecting arteries, veins and capillaries. They come with fever, lymph nodes, as you correctly said, problems in the lips, mouth and skin. They have the rash in the palms and soles which desquamates, soles genitalia, and eyes are characteristically red and lips have got characteristic appearance as in this child.
Yes, sir.
These cracks have got vertical cracks. So, it is commonly seen in genetically predisposed children when they get some infection.
Yes, sir.
Close DD of this in children will be scarlet fever. Can you tell something about that?
Scarlet fever also present with throat pain, strawberry tongue, pharyngitis, but it is a streptococcal infection.
That's right. That's right. So what are common complications you expect in the post-COVID inflammatory syndrome?
Post-COVID inflammatory syndrome, one is
respiratory failure.
respiratory.
Second is cardiovascular problems, shock, arrhythmias, and acute cardiac injury.
Sir.
Third group will be thromboembolic, pulmonary embolism, and acute stroke. Fourth one will be neurological problems like encephalopathy, stroke, movement disorders, and so on.
Sir.
Whenever you have extreme forms of inflammation, fever, abdominal pain, conjunctivitis rash, following history of COVID, you have to suspect these patients.
Sir.
In adults, these are the patients. But coming to children, usually COVID is very, very asymptomatic disease. They know symptoms. We do not know why they don't have symptoms.
Sir.
And if at all they have symptoms, they are atypical symptoms. But rarely they go for this multi-system inflammatory syndrome. And when it occurs in children, it is quite serious.
Sir.
When children you call it as MIS-C and others you call it as MIS-A. The reason why we should recognize this is rapidly they avoid shock and it can be fatal.
Sir.
That's the important point. And it must be detected and treated. So another condition where you can have a rash and shock is toxic shock syndrome.
Sir.
Can you tell one sentence about that?
Toxic shock syndrome can be due to staphylococcal and streptococcal toxic shock syndromes. It's due to the toxin produced. So usually the source we have to eliminate. Infected wound or infected means
Tamboons. They come with shock, but they are very warm. And they will have skin rashes. What about hemophagocytic lymphohistiocytosis?
HLH is also we thought of when there is a bicytopenia. Bicytopenia with splenomegaly, then elevated ferritin level will be there. That will be usually more than 2000. Then hypertriglyceridemia will be there, hypertriglyceridemia. Then again this fibrin degradation products that will be elevated. So 3 more than 8 criteria was there.
Macrophage activation syndrome.
Macrophage activation syndrome is that's chronic disease where patient will be having again hepatosplenomegaly, fever episodes with the classical skin lesions along with the fever. Along with the fever because of the product release from the macrophages, histamine release and all. So the characteristic skin lesions along with the fever will be there and with the hepatosplenomegaly.
So MIS-A is syndrome of a range of clinical presentations and absence of pathognomonic findings or diagnostic test. MIS-C, C means children, suggested in early reports to predominantly affect adolescents and children more than 5 years with more frequent cardiac involvement. Now, multi-system inflammatory syndrome has been suspected when the rare complication associated with COVID-19. So, always keep it in mind as a possibility. Persistent fever, causes symptoms concerning their severity or coincident with the recent exposure to a person with COVID-19. Some children clinically progress rapidly and then shock. Taken care of. So, definition for children is less than 21 years. Although we say 12 years, 18 years for children, for this purpose, 21 years taken as cutoff, and this boy is 15, so he is coming in the category of C. So we have fever, 2 lab sites of inflammation, the red letters, the RP, erythrocyte elimination rate, fibrinogen, calcitonin, D-dimer, ferritin, they all point to evidence inflammation and clinically severe illness. He is shocked and he was hospitalized, and his skin is involved, lung is involved, his heart is involved. So he has got involvement of more than 2 organs, and investigation says there is no other possibility is there, and there's evidence of COVID infection. How do you treat these patients? Treatment. We have basically support them. This shock, we need to correct shock. Fluids, inotropic support, respiratory support, very rarely ECMO. We have used IVIG in this patient and against steroids because strong possibility of Kawasaki was there. Kawasaki-like presentation very common with COVID-19 post-inflammatory syndrome. The echocardiogram did not show any aneurysm or dilatation of the coronary arteries, but the fact that he was in shock, we didn't take risk and gave him both his things and he picked up.
Okay.
So anticoagulation treatments, right? Aspirin can also be given. Now, it's a group of symptoms and signs, and MISC or MISA is not a disease. Only thing is multiple body parts are important parts are heart and lungs. So post-COVID dyspnea, blue fingers or lips must always take your attention. Or renal dysfunction, headache, confusion, altered sensorium, skin lesions as you already said, congested eyes, all suspect. And there are a couple of one sign is severe abdominal pain. 3, blue. 4 is new onset confusion, and 4 is inability to keep awake while going to sleep. Post-COVID inflammatory syndrome, and this can be aggressively and patient can be saved, as in this case. Alternatively, if you miss the diagnosis, patient may die as well. So first diagnosis in this case is post-COVID multi-system inflammatory syndrome